So, as if we thought the Russiagate conspiracy theories are gone, they always manage to rear their ugly heads again. And that's exactly what happened recently when Kamala Harris, she talked about how Russian bots are attacking her and they're, coming out and spearing her in some regard, I guess. And she's trying to, again, these fucking establishment candidates are trying to create this absurd narrative so that they can portray themselves as the victims of Russian bots so that they can, essentially like delegitimize legitimate attacks against them. But that was covered here. So that whole thing was covered on a couple of articles here that I'm going to read for you guys. The first one here is from CNN. And the title says, Kamala Harris says Russian bots are targeting her, but they also respond. But the title also said it's more complicated than that. So let's read the first part of the article here. It says, Senator Kamala Harris has claimed her presidential campaign is being targeted on social media by Russian bots. But while U.S. intelligence officials say Russian disinformation campaigns targeting Americans continue, verified evidence of attacks on specific candidates has yet to publicly emerge. Harris's claims come as Russian bots, quote, Russian bots, have become a catch-all description for some of any disinformation spread online. Democrats could even potentially view the perception that they have been targeted by Russian trolls as politically advantageous, another way to contrast themselves to President Donald Trump, who has publicly sowed doubt about the veracity and implications of Russian cyber meddling, despite warnings from intelligence officials. A Twitter spokesperson told CNN that the company had no evidence that Harris was the target of state-backed bots. Facebook would not say if it had found any Russian activity relating to Harris or other Democratic candidates. If there was, they would have said it. So I guarantee you Facebook didn't find anything either. So the next part here profiles how apparently some of the attacks on Harris was about her ethnicity and her heritage. And apparently that made her think that was Russian bots. But anyway, so it says Harris faced a flood of attacks that sought to undermine her racial identity during last month's presidential debate after she recounted being bused to school as a child. CNN documented how the attacks had been festering online for months before being elevated to the mainstream on debate night, when Donald Trump Jr. shared a tweet sent by one user with the assertion Kamala Harris is not, and then the not has two asterisks on it, an American black. Couldn't you say just black American? And then they say she is half Indian and half Jamaican. But that's true though, so I mean, apparently being, so Jamaicans are technically black, apparently. But yes, she is half Indian and half Jamaican, so I don't know what's so wrong about that. I've even said that, so I don't know, maybe I'm one of the bots that they're referring to. I don't think I got retweeted by Donald Trump Jr., but okay. It says that user subsequently attended President Trump's social media summit, so that definitely wasn't me, that took place at the White House last week. Although CNN found that some of the accounts that attacked Harris during the debate were later suspended, a Twitter spokesperson said that the company had not detected any automatic bot activity. Automatic bots allow one user to send tweets across multiple accounts at once, which can have the effect of making it appear an issue or talking point is gaining traction. And the last part of the article, this specific CNN article says, it quotes an expert, a social media expert, who says people are better off to avoid these accusations or making these accusations because there's no evidence of it, and it's at this point basically it's pretty much baseless. So it says Benjamin T. Decker, the founder of Memetica, a digital investigations consultancy, has been tracking the spread of memes attacking Harris's racial identity. He urged caution on blaming Russia. Quoting him, it says, in many ways, claims that the Russian bots did it deflect from the myriad of socio-political problems that we face as Americans, because the majority of political disinformation is being created by and for American audiences, he said. That's totally true. This guy's right. I don't even know who this dude is. He's completely right. I'm surprised CNN even quoted this guy. And I'm surprised the article was actually pretty... It was pretty, I would say, objective compared to most shitty CNN articles. But he's absolutely right, though. I mean, the problems that are happening in this country are happening regardless of whether Russian bots are involved or not. And it's my contention that Russian bots are not involved because there's no evidence of it. And these people aren't finding evidence of it. So it's obviously bullshit. And I still think that all the bullshit about Russian bots in 2016 was still bullshit. And I still think it's bullshit right now, too. But, of course, Kamala Harris, being who she is, she's going to sound even more absurd here, and she's going to make even more ridiculous claims. And, by the way, these are comments. The comment that I just read to you guys about from the CNN article, and the one I'm just about to read, happened on the show The Breakfast Club, which is hosted by Charlamagne the God and a couple of other people, too. I think it's based in New York, I believe. So this is an article from SFGate. SFGate.com, which is based in San Francisco. It says Kamala Harris, Kaepernick backlash, referring to Colin Kaepernick, was not a thing until Russian bots started taking it on. So now she's claiming that the Colin Kaepernick controversy, when people started attacking Colin Kaepernick for kneeling for the national anthem, she's claiming that that's Russian bots making that a bigger issue and then attacking him. But anyway, so it says Senator Kamala Harris, Democrat of California, said the controversy surrounding the national anthem protests of former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick was, quote, not a thing, until Russian trolls started fanning the flames on social media. It says during a Friday interview with the radio show The Breakfast Club, Harris discussed Russian interference in the 2016 election and said the easiest way for Russian online trolls to sow discord in American politics is to stoke racial animosity. They test out a couple of things to see what can get the American public going at each other, pointing fingers at each other. Harris said, guess what gains the most heat? Race. Harris specifically cited the explosive national debate that ignited in August 2016 when Kaepernick first chose not to stand during the national anthem. Quoting her again, it says, remember the heat that ended up around the bend the knee and Colin Kaepernick? Harris asked. Many smart people have said it actually was not a thing. The Russian bots started taking that on. Kaepernick's protests received attention from the national media immediately after a photo of him sitting on the bench while the anthem played before a preseason game went viral on social media. Listen, this is Kamala Harris's attempt to pretend like she's a victim and pretend like she is, so like just in case she doesn't win the primary, let alone beats Donald Trump if she makes it the general election, she wants to put that idea out there. Okay, Russian bots. So like scare everybody and get everybody around the idea of Russian bots as if that fixes anything. So like, okay, so Russian bots supposedly talked about Colin Kaepernick, Russian trolls out there put out the message of Colin Kaepernick kneeling. I assume she means that they're attacking him. But then, so what are you saying? So there's like not regular idiots out there that don't like Colin Kaepernick kneeling? It's like that was something that was happening. But that's the thing. Like the right wingers out there who attack Colin Kaepernick and whine about bending or whatever, kneeling during a national anthem. Trust me, I know they're idiots. They're not smart people. But their grievances are they're real. These are people that are idiots, and they're like, and a lot of them are like, they're in the military and stuff, and they like to talk about how like Colin Kaepernick is attacking them. He's attacking the military, and he's not a real American, and he's unpatriotic, shit like that. And these are people they honestly believe these things. I don't think the so-called Russian trolls are making any more of a difference in this debate than regular crazy right-wingers would do. And I mean, even if that were the case, it's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like all of a sudden people wouldn't be caring about that, you know? And it's stupid how she makes this connection. Obviously, as is the case, as usual, with the likes of somebody like Kamala Harris, she's obviously got her advisors telling her to put this shit out there so that you can... First of all, she's trying to pretend like like she's on the side of Colin Kaepernick, cares about what he's doing and stuff. Well, maybe she does. But, she obviously doesn't know anything about Colin Kaepernick other than the fact that he was kneeling during a national anthem, because if she knew what Colin Kaepernick had, what his views were, she would know, more people would know that Colin Kaepernick actually didn't believe in voting in the 2016 election, because he thought that the option of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump was totally ridiculous and illegitimate, and it was not a real election where people were actually voting based on the issues that were affecting them. It was just voting for either the lesser evil or the horrible evil. So it's either one evil or another, and I can espouse to that view too. I mean, I totally believe that. I didn't believe like I was voting for any kind of legitimate candidate if I was gonna go and vote for Hillary Clinton. No way. I decided to go and vote for Jill Stein. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Colin Kaepernick did that as well. And I would say, because of his bending the knee, or whatever, not, or kneeling during the national anthem, or not even standing for the national anthem, he was a very good representative. He was one of the main, I would say, representatives of the Black Lives Matter movement, and he put that movement. I would say he was largely responsible for putting that movement on the map, because of the fact that he, first of all, he is a black man. I think he's half black, half white, I believe. But he is a black man, and he believes in the issue of, black men getting, shot and killed by trigger-happy cops, corrupt cops, and, cops that just want to mistreat people of color, whether they're black, Mexican, whatever it is, woman, man, whatever. And he stood up for that cause, and he knew that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump obviously weren't going to do anything to fix those issues. So he didn't tell people not to vote, but he said, I'm not going to vote for anybody. Now, maybe I wouldn't be surprised if he voted for Jill Stein. Maybe he didn't, though. But even if he didn't, or even if he did, that would have been good if he voted for Jill Stein, because at least he would be saying, okay, I'm not going to vote for one of the two corrupt, shitty, fucking corporatist parties. And, I'm sure if Bernie Sanders was running, he would have voted for Bernie Sanders. No doubt about it, because Bernie Sanders had a much better agenda for this country, as we've talked about, and Hillary Clinton didn't have shit to offer. And Colin Kaepernick knew this. And the people that want to grift off of Colin Kaepernick's movement, and I'm sure Harris has done that. I'm pretty sure Hillary Clinton did that. The people that want to do that, they're not, real believers of the Black Lives Matter movement. And Hillary Clinton definitely didn't give a shit about Black Lives Matter. She pretended to. She never really did anything to help make that movement, put it into the mainstream. To be fair, I do believe that Bernie Sanders could have done a lot more to address the Black Lives Matter movement and kind of stand up for them more. But Hillary Clinton was horrible on it, and she was just like, she just constantly pretended to like give a shit, and then she just didn't do anything regarding that issue. And if Colin Kaepernick, being one of the faces of the Black Lives Matter movement, not the only face, but one of the faces, he would have, if he really felt that Hillary Clinton was truly going to do something regarding black relations in this country with whites, and let alone with cops and everything, if he believed that she was, sincere in her beliefs, he would have supported her, and he would have voted for her, or he would have at least said that, she's the better option. And he obviously didn't believe that. And he made it clear that the people that are running are not the ones that we need. And I think he he was somebody that he used the fact that he had a platform as a football player who makes millions of dollars, and he had the ability to put his ideas out there about how black men are getting gunned down by crooked trigger happy police, and also the fact that black Americans are not they're not even getting paid decent wages, they're not being treated fairly at all, let alone being shot by cops or killed by cops, and he wanted to make that known. And Kaepernick will always be appreciated for that. So don't fall for any of the things that Kamala Harris says about how the people that opposed Colin Kaepernick was Russian bots. These were right wingers that hate Colin Kaepernick. Period. So what she's doing is she's delegitimizing the real threat of the right-wing movement, which is out there to smear people on the other side who are actually fighting for real causes. At least the ones that we would hope are fighting for real causes. So at least the actual progressive people out there. But what she's actually doing is she's delegitimizing the right wingers who have legitimate beliefs, or not legitimate, but they have actual beliefs that they believe in. No matter how crazy it is, but it's actual beliefs that they believe in. It's not just Russian bots. These are people that truly hate Colin Kaepernick. They love the flag and they love the military, and they think, kneeling during the anthem is some sort of, unholy action. So don't try and, act like they don't exist and just Russian bots are the ones that are creating this narrative about how you should stand up for the national anthem. We have to, once we know who the enemy is, in this case the enemy being the right wing, pushing out all this bullshit, then we'll know to fight them instead of fighting some unknown, non-existent Russian bot. That's how are we gonna fight those people? That's never gonna happen. So we have to fight the actual people that are putting out misinformation out there, and that's the right wingers.